Hello, everyone. I'm Adam White. Welcome to Masters of Data. I have with me Zoe Hawkins and David Gervin. Hello, friends.
Hello, hello.
Hello. David is a
Hello.
bit under the weather today. We should address that
We
at
should
the
address
beginning.
that.
So sorry, David.
I'm sorry, David. I'm going
Um,
to be kind to you on the podcast because off the podcast, I was like, you sound terrible. But now that we're recording, I'll be like, oh, are you all right? Do you want
yeah.
some tea?
This is true. He
This
also
is
blamed my four kids,
I
constantly blaming.
absolutely always blame small children for plague.
That
It's
Yeah.
is
how, yeah.
just the
My
truth.
kid gave me
Yeah.
pink eye when she was little. I think some things are never forgiven. Like,
That's right. You obviously haven't forgotten
I have
it.
not forgotten where the germs came from in my
That's
house.
gross. I'm just throwing it out there. That's pretty
It
gross.
was gross. It was so gross.
That's fun. So Zoe, we are talking today about the 2026 Intelligence SecOps report. It's a yearly report that we put out. Talk to us a little bit about like how it got started, why we do this, some of the kind of like before we get into some of the nuts and bolts, like why do we do this?
Why do we do this? Good question. So I think the genesis of this is really we all have preconceived notions or assumptions about how people experience their day-to-day work, if they're happy with their tools, if they're not happy, what are the challenges they're facing or not. And especially as someone who tries to speak to that audience on an ongoing basis. Like in the marketing world, I'm always like, who is that person? Like, who am I picturing in my mind's eye that I am communicating with, whether it's doing these podcasts or writing blogs or whatever it is. I try and keep that in mind. And yes, it's always David in my head. But like there is that thing of like, do people actually care about AI? Like, do people actually worry about threats? Like, is burnout real? Any of these things that we talk about on an ongoing basis. It's just helpful to kind of sometimes go to the source and be like, is this a thing? Like, can you please confirm or deny? And
Yeah.
so that's kind of uh-oh, David, yes.
I just want to say, when you build a report like this, but then you hired me to tell you what those people think because I am those people, I feel a little pushed aside.
I mean, what's great though is that it backs you up. So it's you and 500 other great security thinkers are on the same page for a lot of
I'm,
this. So I'm
I
David's
going to
don't
say
voice is
this
feel,
this
making him
yeah,
very
I don't,
sensitive today.
I think
I don't
so.
feel like a special snowflake right now.
I'm so sorry. I will try to speak more kindly to you for the rest of the
You're in Florida. Do
podcast.
y'all have snowflakes?
They don't.
It's been cold. It snowed in
It's
Florida
true. It's
yesterday.
true. Yeah.
It did.
But
My
but
kids
But
saw
so
frost
like
for the first time and freaked out.
oh, I love it. I love it. What is this strange thing? But I think the idea is we want to go to the source. We want to ask people these questions. And it's interesting to me just the evolution of even the way we think about it at Sumo Logic or just in the market or whatever. When this originally was conceived as a report a couple years ago, it was like, oh, like my shorthand for it was the state of SIM. Right. Like that was kind of in my brain. I was like, oh, the state of sim report. Cool. I think there's even still some Asana tickets kicking around that say state of sim on them. But as we kind of started even just developing the questions we wanted to ask, even just kind of figuring out what kinds of information we were looking for, it evolved into the security operations report because it's so much more than just a sim. It's really about, okay, how is your security team operating? What are the challenges you're facing? How are you tackling those?
yeah.
And kind of building out the report from that lens.
It's cool to see it year to year too, because I mean the landscape is changing so much and so quickly. It's what is the sentiment among security leaders as to like what's important to them, where are they spending time, to what degree are they using things that are available for them, to use? Like it's just interesting to see that like data year over year for sure.
A
And
million percent. I mean, I think, it's also like assumptions we have evolved
mm,
year to year. So, like I remember maybe it was last year we had like a whole thing around like tool consolidation. Like, are you happy if your SIM is acquired by another company? Because that was so prevalent in the market. And now we have like a
yes,
bazillion AI startups and like it's almost like, how much do you trust your tooling? and like its legacy nature or not, or whatever the case may be. And how many tools do you even need? Like you would think with all this consolidation that people would be like, oh, I only need like a couple pieces of software and I'm good to go. And in actual fact, we see that number just continue to grow. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's been really, really interesting kind of year over year, our assumptions and also the answers that we get back
totally.
from the report. And like it's great. We work with the same vendor each year, so we work with user evidence and they kind of help us go out and find these people. Because it's not just our customers we're talking to, we are talking to the whole market. Like it is
Yeah,
platform agnostic about what they're using, what their setup is. And that's also helpful to see, like, is everybody in the cloud? Are they not in the cloud? Like even things
yeah.
like that that have evolved year over year that we're able to kind of poke around in and get a sense of.
Love it. That's awesome. Well, I know there are some key takeaways, and this report is forthcoming. I'm not sure when this episode
I think
will
this
exactly
episode will
drop,
land
but
around the same time it's out. So let's just imagine it's out.
yeah, yeah. Imagine you're
Get
able
your
to read
copy
along.
today.
Yeah. But one of the first key takeaways is on AI ML. So, 90% of security leaders say that artificial intelligence, machine learning is extremely valuable or very valuable in reducing alert fatigue and improving detection accuracy. So there are a couple of interesting words in there that we talk about a lot, alert fatigue, detection accuracy. That 90%, that's a good percentage. That's
Hmm.
a lot of people feel that way.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Well, and it
that
was
makes sense.
interesting because, like, across the board, I think it's in the 90s percentile that people say they are using AI. So, like, all these people are like, yes, we're using AI, we're using AI. But then when you actually do like a click deeper and you're like, so what you using it for?
Yeah.
What you doing?
Yeah.
Then it gets a lot more like, oh, they're basically just doing some light AI ML, like almost like anomaly detection
Yeah.
type stuff. A little bit of threat detection. There's like no AI automation. There's no AI remediation at this point.
Yeah.
So I think it's what we all talk about on this show is like, you know, week over week, month over month, like, yes, AI is important. It's being adopted. People are thinking about it. People are talking about it. But in terms of the maturity of what's available, it's not at this point. Like, you can just be like, okay, AI friend, you do this work. Like, it's not
Yeah.
a full handover just yet.
Replacing people, quote unquote, like
Right.
level of AI. Yeah. It's more like
Yeah,
needle in the haystack finding. It feels like,
exactly.
that force multiplier thing that we talk about all the time, David.
Yeah, and with that, there's like, so just from like when I was on the sales side of the house, there you constantly come across these companies that their SIMs aren't actually matured, if that makes sense. So they'll
Mm-hmm.
go through POV, they'll get a few sources plugged in, and then it's like they don't have the manpower or they don't have like the initiative from top down. Like a lot of times people just threw it in for compliance or whatever. Um,
Check the box that you have a sim kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that like last 30% of what you do in your sim makes the most massive difference. So
Mm.
getting all the data you need and then like, fine-tuning things for false positives and how you work and all that kind of stuff. And I think not everybody, but most everybody has that big gap still there. And I really can't wait to see AI fix that. And I think the more technical leaders see the same problem. They're going, man, I just don't have the man hours to like get these tools to do what they're actually doing, and we're paying for them. So we want them to operate at 100% of like level. So I think that's why so many of them are like that. And if they're not really technical, the board's going, AI is going to fix everything.
Mm.
Like, yeah, don't fire me. And they're like, all right, big AI. And they're like, cool. And then they like write emails with ChatGPT or something. But, you know, I'm not
Yeah,
saying.
Were,
yeah.
were
I mean,
you
oh, go ahead.
were you kind of suggesting, David, that AI might help with that 30%, like kind of the
Yeah.
the tuning element, the maturity of a tool? That's a pretty interesting concept just in general in software, that like the implementation side and like what you may be missing to really maximize the value of a tool. Like that's an extremely good use case for AI.
Yeah, and I think people need to realize like a lot of the time security people have multiple tools they have to work at. So their job can't just be good at one of them. Like every
Mm,
once in a while, like, oh yeah, you're like a SOC analyst or a detection engineer and you're just awesome at Sumo and that's what you do. But most people have like multiple tools they have to use. So if you can like fill in that knowledge gap and, automate a lot of the like little granular stuff. So you're literally just like looking at alert, oh, we got to fix this. This is a bad thing type of situation. Now we've actually moved a lot of these really expensive security tools into a much more usable state. And I feel like where we're at right now, that's where AI is exciting to me. Like we are at the automation stage, like we're building really cool stuff and we're doing real cool, agents and stuff like that. But getting like the normal workflows to where they're actually more efficient and like tuned out and mature quickly, that's the kind of thing that we're going to start seeing where it's going to be like, oh, cool. So it goes back to what we've talked about 1,000 times. If you're slapping AI on dog crap, it's still dog crap, right? It's just got a force multiplier on it. So I think we're going to
even
start to
more
see
dog crap.
Yeah, even
even more
worse.
dog crap.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to start to see like some of the like companies that do really well, if they implement their AI, they'll actually shine more
Mm.
because they have a good base program that they're using.
I like that. I mean, I think it's also interesting, like if I think about what my assumptions are about what someone would want to do with AI as a security leader, that's a helpful thing as well. Like my assumption is that they would just want to do like threat detection, investigation, and response, like just that normal workflow. But I really like the idea that like a big piece of that is like, well, you can't do any threat detection until you've tuned your rules and you've got your system set up, and that
Yeah.
that's almost like a precursor activity that you could use AI for.
Yeah, definitely. Helping
Yeah.
people down kind of that maturity path, yeah, is a huge thing.
Yeah,
It's
and I mean, going to what you were saying though, David, about like how many tools people are using, I mean, that's backed up. See, I told you the report is just going to make you seem even smarter. Because it does, it backs up what you were saying of like the vast majority of people who respond in the report are saying like they have three or more tools, five or more tools, eight or more tools. Like they're really, the amount of tools is almost endless. Like there was a decent proportion that had 10 or more tools. It's there is the research backing it up to exactly what you're saying. Like no one is an expert in 10 plus tools. Like I don't care
yeah,
how tech savvy you are, how good you are at your job, how much of a 10x engineer type person you are. Like you
yeah.
can't be good at everything. And so there are going to be those tools that you're better with and the ones that you kind of need an AI or an assistant or someone else on your team or whatever that is who's going to kind of pick up the slack of what you don't know.
I should have been a procurement person. Hearing how many tools there, like that would have been job safety forever. Like if you could how
It's
much
not too
crap.
late.
It's never too late. You can always pivot. They say the average person has like what, four, eight careers in their lifetime, something like that. We all pivot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think that is the thing. Like, we have all these tools, and it's exactly what we've talked about before. Like, that's what necessitates a SIEM is like you need data from all these different tools, data from all these different sources in one place. Otherwise, your swivel chair 10 times a day is
How
you're
are you
gonna,
making
yeah,
sense of what all of those tools are
Yeah.
telling you, you know?
exactly.
Yeah.
And that really is that maturity model importance. Like we are still in a log-centric world. That may change at some point, but it's not right now. And it's even worse right now because the AI tools got ahead of logs,
Mm.
right? Like, I mean, we're doing a lot of stuff like, behind the scenes here with customers and trying to pull LLMs and do like, oh, we don't want that word to come up. If you see like, customer PII, we got to make sure we're alerting on it. But the problem is that the LLMs don't care. So their log
Hmm.
format is 1 million words, and like that broke every sentence there is because no one has a log format like that. So again, like innovation and security, unfortunately, don't work hand in hand. It's always like innovate and then security, you guys are like, we'll build something to fix it.
Excuse me. Like, have you thought about
Yeah.
some security in the back
Right.
end here,
Yeah.
please?
So
Yeah.
I think we're going to see a lot of that, like you're saying. Like we still have to have one place to look at security stuff. Logs are still the single most important source of truth. So SIEM still really does have a place. I think it needs to mature. Like we have to move with the times. We have to fix how we're pulling our data in. We have to understand new types of log format, and we have to automate with agents as much as we can. We showed a bunch of cool stuff at reInvent that was fun. But like I'm really excited about that work because I worked in SIM 1.0 and it sucked. And it got better with like where we're at for the last few years. But now I'm finally seeing like, oh man, like I could run a shift as one person for an enterprise and get work done. That
Mm.
wasn't heard of. Like, some of these big enterprise SOC teams always had 3 to 4 people on a shift, and they'd be like, "Oh, we got through 8 alerts. We only have 4,000 left today." I think those days are like getting behind us, which is exciting.
That's
some
awesome.
some data from the report about what we've been talking about, like only 51% of the respondents say that their current SIM is very effective at reducing mean time to detect and respond to threats. That's interesting, and I think to the conversation that we're having about how you can get more mature and maybe bump that number up above that 51% from that baseline. It's just an interesting conversation, and I think that AI is helping probably head in that direction. It's just probably an adoption issue right now that people things exist, agents exist. Like, to what degree do I want to turn them on? To what degree are they autonomous? How much control do I put in place? Is my lack of staffing actually an impediment to AI adoption because we don't have time to fix problems without AI? We don't have time to fix problems that AI may be causing, or false reporting. It's like it's such an interesting dynamic right now of like how that number moves in a more positive direction.
Yeah. And I think part of that is also like the nature of having so many disparate tools.
Hmm.
And in the report it's even highlighted like it's not so much about having too many tools, it's that they don't talk to each other.
Yeah.
And so, you think about the same thing like we've talked about with AI and agents. Same thing, like this is where we need MCP, like this is where you need an ability for your tools to talk to each other. And if that comes from having AIs that can talk to each other, great. Like
Yeah.
whatever it takes to make it happen. But the biggest problem is that, this tool doesn't match that tool, which doesn't match that one. And then it's like, who's real, who's right, what's data, what's truth, and it gets very
Right.
existential very quickly.
Yeah, and I think like you're seeing 51%, they're saying their sim is doing, what it's supposed to do. I don't know what the percentage of that 49% left over. Do you see that quick math? I mean, come on.
Quick.
Oh,
Um,
who's sick today? Not
Uh,
you.
but But I would bet that a majority of them aren't tuned, don't have the right log data in, haven't had like training on their tools. But there's some really bad sims left on the market. There's some really powerful ones, and I think we all have like what we believe in, like we believe our way forward is the way, they believe their way forward is the way type of thing. But I think we're going to see a divergence on people are going to have to pick what they think is going to be the way for security teams, for workflows and all that kind of stuff. And we're pretty passionate about that internally here. I'm in those meetings. We all believe we have the answer. But then you're going to see people who are going to pick the wrong way. And if we're all betting on AI is not going to fix the world. It's going to fix
It's
getting
not.
things tuned and no, because
We've been lied to,
but
Zoe.
But I think we're also going to see product people in other places, like not here, obviously, we're going to win. Other places that are going to pick the wrong way and they're going to build AI that's going to do more dog shit. And it's going to be really interesting to see that divergence this year. And I think we're going to see it by the end of the year. I think
Mm.
it's good. By the end of the year, all companies are going to have agents out. They're going to have MCPs out. They're going to be doing this kind of stuff. Need a control plane for your MCPs. Don't forget that. Read the governance paper. Don't be dumb. But we're going to see all this kind of stuff happening. And I think I'm actually like excited to see who makes the biggest mistakes because as we know, like I like to watch things burn.
I thought he was going to say progress,
I
and then
was
he
the
made
same. I was
mistakes.
so
And
ready. I was
yeah.
in it. I was like, me too. I'm also excited for that. And then it went in a different direction, but that's okay. We had watched the world burn. It's great. But I think there is that piece where, um, you know, we have to build these agents that do specific things, that talk to each other. And so as we, look at what people are saying in the market, the idea that only 50%, 50-ish percent of people are happy with what they have, like tells me that there's a lot of room for people to find new ways and new solutions and who are looking for something different, who are looking to innovate and understand that it doesn't have to be this legacy approach.
Yeah.
I think you kind of hit on the head there. It doesn't have to be the legacy approach. And what we're going to see this year, like obviously agents, we're going to see tuning, we're going to see, but what I'm excited about is new workflows.
Mm.
How you're handling incidents, how you're handling data, how you're gathering it together, how you're doing post-mortems. I can't talk. How the detection engineering loop is working through your system and how all that kind of works together. Like that to me is exciting because I gave up on AppSec a long time ago being an AppSec leader because the system never works. It's just a giant loop of death. But I can see it's so close in the future for CorpSec right now. I'm like, oh man, I could see SIM finally working in this perfect loop of fine tuning, which it's going to have to be because AI attacks are going to get worse and they're going to get the same kind of thing. We're going to see these force multipliers in botnets we haven't seen before, and we're going to have to be ready for it on our end.
And
Even
I,
just some of the things that we were showing at reInvent, like on the MCP front, David, like tools working together through Slack, through
So good.
IDPs,
Yeah.
it's ID,
IDE.
yeah. It's
I
so
live in my
cool
IDE.
yeah, it's so cool to see the systems actually working together at that level now, and that we're kind of these are the early days of all of this type of interaction on the MCP front. So kind of to your point earlier, Zoe, like pulling all of it together, like the tools don't talk together, but like now there's this mechanism for them to. It's pretty exciting, and I can see, like, speaking of kind of year over year progress. I can see this year as being a real kind of inflection point where, and maybe we said this a little bit last year, also, but we'll probably say it every year for the next, 5 to 10 years. But I can see organizations like really moving in the direction of MCP, getting these tools to work together in a better way, and one that's like super practical for the actual practitioners and operators. It's not just this like pie in the sky, CTO, CISO, hey, I want AI to work. It's like actually person level interaction with AI that's making a difference again through things like MCP.
With that, I can actually give you like a change in my workflow that's like pertinent to that. So I'm a cursor user. I've had them since the beginning. I like Claude and stuff too, but that's just what I work in. And from the beginning, because I used VS Code for years, I had it set up like a normal IDE with my code on the center screen. Then I had my little agent over here. I've actually switched. Like I only open the code side to check things. Like I am working with
Mm.
agents and I'm working with chatbots, and then I have like all the like, I have persona agents in there, like do a security review of this code, and it's not really vibe coding the way I have it set up because I have so many guardrails in place, but it's you know it's definitely task based and spec driven development. But I'm working more now with the like chat box than I am in code. And that's a
Mm.
shift. And that's probably happened over the last 4 months, but it's gotten good enough where I can do that. And like we weren't there 6 months ago, in my opinion. I had to like constantly fix crap and like deal with things. And now I'm more in the agent side.
And I
So
think that's kind of also how expectations have shifted. Like if I go to a website or whatever, it's the same way like when I don't know, for me like I think about like early days of the web and like what I expected from a website versus what I expect now. Like if someone doesn't have a solid mobile experience, I'm like, what is happening? Like what year is
Yeah,
this?
right.
Like, what's going on? Or like if I go to a restaurant website and like I can't find the menu immediately, I'm like, I don't understand what's going on. Like, why do you
Yeah.
exist on the website? And,
and
and go ahead.
MCP's doing that with it too. Sorry, I didn't mean to completely cut you
Yeah.
off. I wanted to add on to that. It's like I should be able to order food on my IDE because everything's MCP. I should be able to ask my cursor agent, hey, the team we've been coding for 3 hours, I wanted to buy them all lunch, order burgers from blah, blah, blah. and it should be able to do it. That's where we should be. So I'm agreeing with you. Keep going. Sorry.
Yes, yeah, no, and I mean that's kind of what I heard they're starting to build. I saw an article about this. I'm going to totally butcher it. It was either with Chat OpenAI or with Anthropic, but they were basically adding um a chat interface into their existing, I think it was Anthropic, because like Claude Code was so good that people were trying to use that instead of Claude normal interface to do tasks. And so
Interesting.
they were like, okay, we'll just make Claude Code like more accessible to non-technical users because yeah, it's just that great. And your food analogy made me think of that movie with Sandra Bullock, The Net, where she orders pizza in the 90s, and it was like mind blown that she could order it
Right.
online.
So
But
funny.
that is our future, is that I'll be able to tell my dinner agent to sort out dinner for my family and order food. But I think that, as I think about like expectations evolving and all of that, we've talked about it so much before. Like it also is oh my God, a rapidly evolving digital landscape. But
Zoe's AI
like
now.
I am AI
Zoe
now,
just became
but
ChatGPT.
I became chat. I said it too many times, but like the threat landscape, oh, I hate it. The degree of potential threats has grown so much. Like
Yeah.
in a modern environment, in a modern application environment where everybody's saying, I want to have a chat interface or I want to have an AI interface on this experience and that experience, and I want this experience to talk to that experience. Suddenly, my calendar and my email and my phone and my kids' school are talking to each other, and somewhere in there is going to be a security threat. I can guarantee it. And
Yeah.
like, I think that's where, there was a stat I said to you before we started this call, David, and you were like, that's a meaningless statement. But it was something about like 60 some odd percent of people of security leaders don't think they have the necessary tooling for a modern environment. And you were like, what does that even mean? And it's like, well, we know what that means. Like only 37% of security leaders think they have the tools they need to address this like potential AI nightmare or potential modern application nightmare that is coming right for us.
And when you put that in the context, Zoe, of like how many interconnected systems there are, even just in your personal life, you think about an enterprise environment. It's like, every week they must be bombarded, security leaders must be bombarded with like, I need this to connect to this, and this connect to this, and this. And it's like okay, I see the business power of what you're talking about, but like like we can't forget that this all has to be secure and that there aren't, open permissions and privileges and autonomy that we don't know about. So yeah, I can see the trepidation, and that 37% is makes a lot of sense for sure.
And I still don't think those people know what they
Like the two
say when
thirty.
it says
Yeah.
a modern landscape or modern tool, whatever. I bet if you asked them, they'd be like, "Well, I don't know, the AI." Um, but yeah, it is changing though. Like my tooling at home is very different. Like right now, it's like my workstation is like an IDE, and then I have a control plane, and then I literally have tons of MCP tools set up with it. And that's how I work now. I don't use APIs at
You just
all.
torch tokens all day, every day. That's
I
just your
do
life.
torch tokens. I will say that I have very high burn rate right now.
I'm sure. I'm sure. But I think there is that thing, like it clicks in my head every time I think about like, I'm exactly what you described, Adam. Like, I'm not the only one messaging IT being like, hey, there's an Asana integration into Slack, and there's a Slack integration into Jira, and there's a Jira integration into GitHub. Like, can we just whoop them all together? And
Yeah,
security being like,
right.
nope, nope, nope,
Just,
nope.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah. But it's like in my head, I'm like, of course this should all be possible. And the security mind, when I like turn that piece on I hear Roland in my head being like, just pause for a minute. And I'm like, oh yeah, maybe that's not a good idea. Like,
Listen to yourself.
like,
I just want to say that neither my voice or Roland's is as high pitched as your impressions for both of the last two impressions.
I can't do the deep voice. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It
I
just
don't
doesn't
have a
sound
deep
right on.
voice, but still, I'm just standing up for Roland since it's not here.
That's
Thank you.
funny.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's hilarious. days.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think, you know, it's interesting to me to see that a lot of the conversations we've had are reflected in the data. Like I was saying, David, like it makes all of us see it validates what we've been talking about to a large extent around like, okay, we've been saying that this is the case, and now it's not just us, it's 500 plus security leaders backing it up with that data.
Yeah.
You know, it's just kind of helpful and I hope interesting to people as well. Like get, you know, gut check your biases, I think. Like, you know, have a read of the report, check it out, like see some of the stuff that might surprise you around AI adoption or, you know, what are the biggest constraints for teams at the moment? Like we go into all sorts of things like is it cost? Is it people? Is it the threat landscape? Whatever it is, like what's kind of keeping you up at night? We have all sorts of goodies in the report that I hope people are able to check out.
Yeah. Well, it'll be
Kids are
fun. Oh,
keeping
go
me up
ahead,
at night.
David.
Hmm?
Kids,
What?
Well,
kids
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 keep you up
do
at night.
keep
keep me
and
up
your
at night.
your latest plague as well, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
Right.
Yeah.
yeah. Sorry,
Right.
keep going.
David's patient zero. It will be fun for everyone to read the report. I know when it's out, and like we were talking about before, like at least maybe make people feel less alone, and like these are all challenges that are pervasive across the industry. But it's exciting to see where the future is taking us with these things. Just as long as we keep security in mind and you know make sure that we're working off of best practices. So fun conversation. Thank you, Zoe. Thank you, David, as always. And we'll see you all on the next episode. Please go read the 2026 Intelligent. What's the name of the SecOps report? I
2026.
was in my head on
It was
like,
in your
yes,
head.
Intelligent
2026
SecOps report.
Intelligence Security Operations
Security
Insights
update.
Report. Yeah.
Perfect. Yes.
Go
Thank you,
read the
everyone.
thingy.
Go read it. It has pictures.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.